Hello and welcome to this video. Now, last year I spent a week trying to work out what would be the 10 greatest albums. Obviously we can go online and we can look up, the 10 greatest albums, and we see the same old things every single time. Pet Sounds will be there, London Calling by The Clash, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, and some of these are quite good albums, some of these are great albums. But I decided to, really spend a week really trying to go through every single album, because some albums get forgotten, usually because they're not critically cool enough. Now, I was today going to do a video where I went through 10 albums that are all, as far as I'm concerned, essential albums. Everyone should own a copy. They're brilliant albums. They're pretty near perfect, but they don't necessarily come up in this list. But then my old mate Dave called, the vinyl vulture, and he wanted to pop over and show me some of his worst albums. So I thought, I'll go through some of these with you. So I thought, Dave's a big record collector. I wonder how many of these he's got. Now, some of them are really obvious, really like some of the biggest selling records in the world. Okay. And they're brilliant albums. And others are a bit more weirder, and I think they need to be spoken about and lifted up a little bit. So we've got Dave from the Vinyl Vulture. You've seen him before. He's also lead singer of the Ultimate Coldplay Experience. Did I just add experience? I don't think
we've had experience, but I think I'm gonna use that now.
Yeah,
Ultimate Coldplay Experience. I like it.
So because on the last video where we didn't mention that so much, people were like, going, that bloke looks like Chris Martin from Coldplay. And I was thinking, yeah, I know. He knows that.
I know that.
He knows that.
I went to Turkey and got the surgery especially for it.
And of course, on my right, I have Rob Grocott, my right-hand man, who... Rob's a big music fan. He's a musician, but he's not a collector, you see. Not like us.
Yeah, no. a small collector.
Yeah, so it's always interesting. He's like a layman. Now, I think because, I love going... What?
A bit hard.
What, layman's not that bad.
Sounds a bit like...
A layman. That's like someone who works in a church and does a bit of praying and preaching, but isn't one of the vicars. We're like the vicars. You're the layman.
Can you imagine?
What?
The prayman.
It was a joke. Cool. You can put some canned laughter on here.
Yeah. Don't try and be funny.
I'll be editing it anyway. So
Rob,
I'll put loads of canned laughter on all of my things and nothing on yours.
They're like booze.
Yeah. So I've got 10 albums here. There's a reason why I picked each one. I'm going to go through them and I'm going to see whether you know these albums, whether you own these albums and what you think, and whether they should be considered to be in, say, the top 20
so this is like
albums ever made.
Oh, so we got 20 of them.
No, I've got 10. Oh. But that would be my criteria, because I will then go back to my list, because every year my greatest album list I'm going to update, and I keep thinking, that's got to go on. And there's so many albums that you just forget.
Yeah, sure.
And this was inspired because I put an album on the other day, and it was so amazing, I burst out crying. It was just not because it was sad, just because it was so perfect and brilliant. And I thought, I didn't even consider this album on my list. And this is one of the greatest albums ever made. I've got that at number 1, so you got to stick around to find which one that is. Now, let's start, shall we, at number 10. Right, so I know Dave from the old days when you used to play in, what was it, in effect, a Cream tribute band.
Yes.
And
Strange Brew.
Strange Brew.
Yeah, with the amazing Ian Parker.
Yeah, Killing What's Inside of You. And we love a power trio. We like guitar, bass, and drums. Hard rock bands, right stuff like this.
Everyone's exposed. There's no weaknesses. You can't be a bad musician in a trio.
Now I'm going to put into the mix at number 10. If this is a power trio, but I think for that sound, it's as good as it gets, and it's unequalled. I hope. So I think this needs to be considered as one of the greatest albums ever made.
Oh, now we're talking. And I do own this record.
I would expect you to.
And, okay, first thoughts.
This is about as good as it gets, isn't it?
Andy Fraser, bass player. EB3. Bit of a Jack Bruce kind of vibe. Yeah. But probably, I'm going to say something radical. Bit more tasteful than Jack Bruce. Bit more reserved. Great tone, great feel. Simon Kirk on the drums. Groove. Meister. If you're going to do blues rock, it doesn't get any better than Simon
I
Cooke.
really believe this is as good as it gets. I mean, Jimi Hendrix is the greatest of all time. I love Jimi Hendrix, love the Jimi Hendrix experience, Led Zeppelin, all of these bands are great. You know, ZZ Top, they're all great. But really, this is about as good as it gets.
It's incredible. And Paul Rodgers' voice.
What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, you say about Fraser's genius as well, and how it's like the fact that he's the one that comes up with the riff.
He's the songwriter.
For All Right Now.
He is the songwriter, yeah.
How old is he as well?
So it's about 17, 18 years
17
old.
or something. And he just like,
He was
incredible.
Amazing. This is a great record. My dad saw them live in this period
What,
at
with
the
the
Walton
Cossack,
Hall,
yeah.
and he said he had to sit on the stage because there wasn't enough room, and he was right next to Kossoff's amp. He said it blew his mind. So I'm very jealous of that. All Right Now is a song. It's a rock classic now. It's a staple. We know it. All these crummy bar bands play it. You know, they kill it, they ruin it. Some good versions, some bad versions. But it's still a great song. It's one of those songs like The Boys Are Back in Town. You hear it so often, you go, oh, here we go.
I still love it though.
But when you actually stop and listen to it, it is a great piece of songwriting, but it's also the playing is so tasteful.
Unbelievable.
And I tell you what, Andy Fraser, he knows when not to play.
Yeah.
The space he creates is genius.
You love this, don't you?
I love this record.
This is and you
think
love it as well, don't you?
Paul Rogers' voice is just
Unbelievable, yeah. So why is it?
And also because this is the thing. It's like people have said as well, and you probably would have said is that every time he sung that, it wasn't like he didn't write that as it is on that record. He was just. It was like in the moment, and every time he sung it, it was different. It was improv, and that's a massive testament to just.
And when
how
they
good
played
it can be.
live, I'm not sure about the record so much. When they played live, they didn't add a second voice. There was just one voice, one microphone out front. I remember my dad telling me, and even that, you know, you can think, well, harmonies, they had this, they had that. Yes, they do. But with a band like this, no harmony creates space. And when you listen to the live versions, they're not too far away from what they're doing on this album.
I nearly put the live album in because I think this is what's bizarre. This is one of the greatest albums ever made. That live album surpasses it. It's like if you want to get into free, just go and get the live album.
Yeah, it's more energy.
It's incredible. And I nearly put this in, but I thought no, this is their greatest studio album by a mile. But have got so many other great albums. Heartbreakers
Heartbreakers got album.
Yeah. And so I just think that when we start talking about Led Zeppelin or Jimi Hendrix or Deep Purple or even AC/DC, whoever it is, this is the benchmark. This is as good as it gets. And I don't think this is quite held.
I prefer this to Led Zeppelin. And that's radical.
I think I do.
I do. I just think for that kind of blues rock stuff, Kossoff.
So if I was to say, can you see the point of this video? If I was to say this is one of the greatest albums ever made and put it in the top 10, you wouldn't go, nah, it's ridiculous, would you?
I wouldn't say, no, but a lot of people would probably say, well, what is that? Because it doesn't feature in, Q Magazine, although Q Magazine isn't a thing anymore.
No. You know what I love about this, what I love about Free, is I have a love-hate relationship with blues guitarists, right? And I like Carlos Santana. I like Clapton. It's like you got Clapton, and then you have a lot of people that sound like Clapton. But I love Clapton. I love Carlos Santana. I like a blues guitarist to sound like them.
Yeah.
Like really. And Kossoff's got that. He really sounds like himself. Like you say, Andy Fraser, his bass playing is incredible. All Right Now is like a FM staple, and yet if you listen to it, it's got a bass solo in it, and it's got a drums and guitar break with it. It's those really weird, full-out rock things that would be.
It's amazing.
We've also got things beautiful, because when hard rock bands then decide to do the soft tunes, the acoustic tunes, I usually don't like them.
Yeah, they're crap.
Theirs are amazing.
Those are. I was going to say that.
Yeah,
they could do that.
They could do it. Yeah,
they could do that. Don't Say You Love Me is a beautiful, song.
Simon Kirk's one of the greatest rock drummers, and again we'll go, who are the great rock drummers? And I'll be sat there going, oh, John Bonham's amazing, Ian Pace is amazing, love Brian Downey, and that's was the one that I put in. We start going through classic rock drummers, but Simon Kirk is. We all know it's the peak. This is perfect. Perfect album.
Groove. And the way he plays with such passion and the simple groove. I mean, you watch him on the Isle of Wight performance they did, in, probably the year this came out.
Yeah,
and he starts to play Mr. Big, that drum opening, and he's really he's swinging.
Yeah.
You know what? The thing for me, it's like with that, because it's not like it's not somebody going like, ding, 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 ding. It's like,
Yeah.
and to do that with all that space and that timing and the power there, like the energy in it, even though it's not doing this sort of 16 thing, which is what every drummer does to kind of keep energy.
Fill the space.
And the same with all I know, it's like, it's solid.
This is the greatest hard rock band of all time, and it's so unique. It's like the nuclear physics of hard rock. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like when you get into what's going on and analyse. Now, AC do see the same for me. When I analyse what's the way the guitarists work with the drums and how they would do the middle sections. But this is 1970, so it's like we going about Black Sabbath, we're going about Led Zeppelin, but yeah. So I'm going to keep going on about that. That was a safe choice for number one.
What's good about Free is they didn't do too much either. There's just the right amount of albums.
That's right. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, good start. Solid.
Good start. I knew that was an easy one to start off with. They do start to get a bit weird right now. Prog,
of course.
we're gonna have to
Big time, yeah.
Now, when you came in and did your favourite albums, I think did you do your favourite prog albums?
I did.
Yes, dominated.
Yeah, because I'm a big Yes fan, and I think I like Crimson, but a lot of other prog, I just think I compare it to Yes a lot.
Yeah,
of times.
and I'm the same.
And I go, well, it's good, but it's not as good as Fragile or something.
I think that this is one of the greatest prog albums ever made. I think this is the most prog album ever made. There's no album more prog than this album. And I think we have to put it, when we're talking about prog, we've got to put this one in very highly in the top 10 greatest prog albums for your consideration. Olias of Sunhillow, the solo album by John Anderson.
Yes.
Now, what we have here, and it's very interesting, is John Anderson went away and made a solo album. He virtually plays everything on this. Now, John Anderson's not a virtuoso, but he, for me, personifies prog. So he rocks up, he's got some percussion, bit of incense, he's got an acoustic guitar.
Crystals.
He's got some crystals, he's got his beautiful voice, and he fashions this insane concept album. They bring in this artist that was not Roger Dean. He invents a new look for prog with this. And this is
It's
set
kind
out
of Tolkien-esque, isn't it?
And it comes with a book, and it's got all
Yes.
this going on. Look, this it tells his story. Elias' son. Oh no, that's something else. Yeah, I think mine's falling apart a little bit because I've played it so much.
I did have this record, but it was one of those ones that I lent to someone and it never came back.
Well, yeah. Now I think that this is an absolute masterpiece, and I think it actually points the way to where prog could have gone and sort of did go, because this doesn't rely on virtuosity, and yet it's still out and out prog.
I know this album, and when I first heard it, being like 17, massively into Yes, I'd heard the Chris Squire record, loved that, and I got this one, and I was a little bit underwhelmed by it at first. I like the first couple of tracks because they got hooks, but there's not so many hooks after that, and it hasn't got the virtuosity, like you say, but he's drawing more from kind of folk kind of background.
And minimalism, and I think also classical composition. There's a lot of that in there. I think this is a real masterpiece in every shape or form, and I think it's iconic, and I think there's no other album in the world like this. And even in Yes's catalogue, it sits there. You know, it stands there.
See, what's great is you're saying John Anderson is the pinnacle of prog rock.
I think he is. Yeah,
he's an ex-milkman from Accrington. And then you get like Genesis and King Crimson are all like highly educated, you know.
I've interviewed a ton of people on my channel. The one that astonishes me is the fact that I sat and had a conversation with John Anderson.
That is incredible. That is incredible, yeah.
You know,
I love John Anderson, and his voice is like no one else's. He doesn't try and sing or try and sound like anyone else.
I need to buy another copy of this because this one's getting a bit rubbish.
It's a good choice.
So that's a good. That's at number 9. I've got that at number 9. You don't know that, do you?
I don't know that.
I think you like it. It's not over the top. It's not all weird time signatures.
I mean, the thing it's always John Anderson, like you said, the folk element that John Anderson brings into Yes. I think is the thing that I quite like.
But this isn't like it isn't actually like folk though, is it? It's
no,
like...
but he was influenced by Simon and Garfunkel, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and you know he liked Dylan and he liked.
Imagine Simon and Garfunkel in another cosmic realm on acid. That's what that album sounds like.
Weren't they on acid anyway?
Who?
Probably.
Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah, but you don't really hear the effect of it, do you? Really?
No, it's a bit nice. It's a bit nice.
Right, at number 8, I have got Meditations by John Coltrane. Now, this one you have to approach with caution. You came out, and a lot of this is responding to you, when you came in last week. And if you haven't watched those videos, go and check them out. Your favourite albums, greatest albums of all time. And of course, you put A Love Supreme. And many people would say, that if you made that to be the greatest album ever made, Love Supreme, one of the greatest albums, perhaps the greatest album ever, no one would argue with you, right? In terms of a spiritual experience and a mind-blowing, this is greater. Meditations.
I do like this record. I do like this. I don't own this album either. Yeah. So let me just have a look at the cover there. Oh, wow. Yes, I've seen this knocking about. Jasmine Records. That's not an original press, is it?
No.
I'm not overly familiar with it. I have listened to it a few times online, and I like it. It's good, but it's the later Coltrane stuff is more challenging. After Love Supreme, it changed completely. Yes. He's kind of, I had this book I read this book on Love Supreme, and he said as soon as he recorded it, he was done with it. He didn't even want to play it live. He was done, and he was moving on to something else. Right. And this phase, what's this, like 1965 onwards, it starts to get more intense. And
that's what I love about it.
And the later stuff, obviously, he didn't live that much longer afterwards, but the stuff in 66, 67, I find very difficult to get through.
This for me is perhaps, if you're going to talk about free jazz, this is the greatest free jazz album ever made, especially the huge epic Father, Son and the Holy Ghost, which the only way to approach that is to realise that Coltrane really is accessing an energy source when he plays, which is so incredibly powerful that you are probably not going to be able to deal with it. So, and I've had moments with this where if I just close my eyes and just focus on Coltrane and expect nothing from it, just go, right, just take in what the man's doing, just take it in with no judgment whatsoever. It's an unbelievable experience. So this album, because I love Supreme is great, but this one is so far in. Now the other tracks, Compassion, Love, Consequences, Serenity, are actually much closer to A Love Supreme. This is still got the classic quartet with Elvin Jones, Forrest Son and Jim Garrison, but with Rashid Ali in the mix. And once Rashid Ali was in there, it became so noisy. Elvin jumped and they slowly went. The one that's become famous, Ascension, right? The big one.
Yeah.
I love that album, but I don't think it's anywhere near. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I think it's an experiment.
It's an experiment.
This isn't like that. This is really complete, but it is really in your face.
Yeah. I can't get through Ascension. I can't get through it.
No,
I struggle with it.
There's one moment on Ascension where it sounds like there's someone clearing up their shed and moving stuff around while someone's torturing a goat.
It sounds like an Italian traffic jam.
I love it though. You see, I love anything like that.
Yeah, I have a question here. So one of the things when I first started getting into jazz, and one of the things like the advice was like, if you want to look at free jazz, that you look at Ornette.com and Champion Jazz to come. But now you're saying that in terms of free jazz is that, would you say that this is a better thing to be listening to for free jazz?
Shape of Jazz to Come is the beginning of free jazz, but it's a bit like going.
But is it? But it's
like a bit like going. The Cream album is the beginning of heavy metal.
Yeah,
but it ain't bloody napalm.
So it's better to go with something that's later here, where it's like it's much more.
Audit go for free jazz, which recently I've really been getting into.
Yeah.
Because it's once you start to understand the organisation of it, and the fact that there's two quartets, and Ascension's the same idea. He took it, but I don't think he does it as well as Ornette, because Ornette basically, once they get going, it's almost like these little duos come out. And once you realise that, you go, oh my God, now it's that drummer, because there's two drummers. But, that drummer's jamming with that drummer, and it's really interesting to go, well, they're just jamming, and no one had done this. The recording's running, the recording's running, you got, people could record stuff in the 60s well, and you got albums you can put them on. So it's the first time people just go, what happens if you go like us? We're just jamming here. So it's all a bit of free jazz. This one, this spiritual thing that Coltrane's on at this point, this is the peak. Meditations is the peak. And everyone thinks it's a Love Supreme, but this is like, it's like the esoteric heart of a Love Supreme, and it doesn't never gets mentioned. Interstellar Space does. I love that. It's an incredible album. And that's easier to grasp because it's just drums and sax. Ascension's a real difficult one. And then you got the ones when he was dropping acid, like Almond, Kula Samama. They're all a bit patchy, to be honest. Yeah. You know, they are all a bit patchy. But this one is something else. Meditations. Okay?
Cool. Very good.
Right. So it's 6, aren't we, or something like that, or 7? Right. I've said this on the channel over and over again. I love jazz rock fusion. You love jazz rock fusion.
I do love it. You're the one that's got me into it.
Yeah, I've got you into it.
Got me
into this. This could well be the greatest jazz rock fusion album ever made.
I've heard you say this before. In fact, I watched the very episode in which you talked about this record.
Yeah, and as time goes on, we love, the Inner Mountain Flames, incredible, and Spectrum we spoke about. These are all incredible albums. They're all incredible albums. But when I, in my mind, compare, say, Spectrum to this is greater. This is even greater.
Why? How is it greater?
Because everything about jazz rock fusion that I like is on this album. There's no bad tracks on it. Every track is incredible. It's really funky, but it's also on fire. It sounds like the Mahavishnu Orchestra, but there's a whole bunch of fun and energy into it. It's unbelievable. Magical Dog, and I've said this a million times, Magical Dog is the greatest jazz rock fusion track ever made.
It's not the greatest title, though, is it?
Magical Dog. You've got on here 2 songs, One to One and Let the Children Grow, and I love them. They're really great.
I'm not too far. When you did the episode, whenever it was, a year ago maybe. I listened to this, and then I've forgotten about it, so I can't comment on this too much. Obviously, I know Jan Hammer, but and Fernando Saunders sounds familiar. Was he on? He's on that record I bought the other week.
He's on.
Hanaran, yeah. So I'm familiar with some of the musicians here, but I'm not familiar with this record, so I can't comment too much.
You've got to sit down with this.
I like the cover. It's giving me the beginning of Grange Hill vibes.
Yeah, it does.
And it's like a huge sausage appears, and then Jan Hammer starts doing jazz rock.
Yeah, that's basically it.
I mean, so even looks like that as well.
Yeah. I don't want to make fun of your album, but yeah.
I was going to say they've channeled Lichtenstein, the great pop artist from the 1960s, but the truth is, it is more like Grange Hill. It is a bit more like Grange Hill. Most of the Americans go, "What are you talking about?" You know.
Yeah, look it up.
But I think this is the greatest jazz rock. Okay. It's definitely the top 3 for me. I've got to champion it. I know why people don't like this album.
Why don't they like it?
There's no guitar on here. And when it comes to jazz rock fusion, they want to have their guitar on it.
How about Weather Report? No guitar.
They suffered with that problem before, and they got round it.
It's
Jacko.
They had Jacko. Because keyboards aren't as sexy as guitars.
They are when Jan Hammer plays them.
Playing them. I mean, and that's
you're a massive fan, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is that I think with the space that no guitar leaves, Jan Hammer just fills that with. Yeah. Just incredible playing, and I don't know this album, but
this one is a full-out fusion album. There's a trio. There's the first 7 days, which is like Jan Hammer's Tubular Bells, better than Tubular Bells, where he basically does the Book of Genesis with loads of keyboard overdubs, unbelievable. Then there's this is the greatest jazz fusion album ever made. Then he does Melodies, where he does a whole bunch of pop songs and he sings. Nice. And it should be the worst album, and it's not. It's unbelievable. Wow. It's as good as this one. It's just not jazz fusion. It's something else. This one just flies. And there's stuff, and every single track is so different. It's just, I love this album, and I'm going to keep pushing it.
Is that Jan on the cover?
Yeah, that's Jan on the cover, yeah.
Okay. I just wondered where he was on the back because he's not there, but so he's there. Yeah,
yeah, that's his band.
Yeah, okay.
This band, they just didn't have any success, and it was like they tried. They even with the band that it's the band and the material that's on Jeff Beck Live.
Well, this is 1976. Don't you think jazz rock after kind of Heavy Weather by Weather Report changed.
Yeah, I think
because although I love that album, and I wanted to talk about this before, I love Heavy Weather, but it kind of ruined jazz rock because it meant record companies went, well, we want that now because that sells. So all the stuff that happened before, your My Vishnus, your Billy, your Billy Cobhams, your RTF, all this stuff was like, nah, get rid of that. We want it slick. We want it radio friendly.
You know, Michael Walden said to me, because he's my mate now, right?
Name drop, is that?
He said to me, when the Mavish Nunksha stopped, he got a deal with Columbia Records. He went into the studio, had a full orchestra. He got Jeff Beck on guitar, Carlos Santana on guitar, the great Ray Gomez on guitar. He's got Stanley Clarke. They just threw the whole. He does this massive. And Garden of Love Light is another jazz rock masterpiece. Absolutely incredible. Then he said the following year they said, "You have a hit record or we drop you." And Nirvana ended up producing Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey because he then had to focus his mind on trying to write a hit record, and he managed to do it. He had a hit record, and then he had another hit record. That was the pressure that they were told. You have a hit record or we drop you. Yeah. And that's what happened to the jazz rock fusion guys at the end, And they either then scaled down and went back to just playing normal jazz where you can just walk into a studio. But that blip, this is why I love jazz rock fusion, that blip where you've got like full strings, full brass, you've got like every musician on the planet. People don't understand. Can you imagine how much it must have cost to have an album? You got Steve Gadd on drums, you got Stanley Clarke on bass. It's just bonkers.
Yeah,
because they would have cost a bomb.
Yeah,
when I did the interview with Aldi Milano, he said Tour de Force Live. That live album he did in 1982. Is Steve Gadd drums, Jan Hammer on keyboards, Anthony Jackson on bass, Mingo Lewis on percussion, and they got another keyboard, might be Philip Sayers on keys. That cost him an arm and a leg. He said he knew that was the last time he'd ever be able to do that. From then on, it would be you would just have your local band with your unknown musicians, and that would be your band. That was the last time he was able to go out on tour with that lineup. And people have to understand that it was a window where the industry was putting money in to virtuoso musicians and letting them do whatever they want.
And then it kind of, it was very brief, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, my favourite, I was just going to say, that my favourite thing is, was it Narada that told you about when, I can't remember what, was it on your favourite, the Visions of the Emerald Bronze, where Jan, you said it was like Jan and Narada were playing together, but then he told you that they recorded separately.
That's Wired.
Wired? Yeah.
And the thing, what's interesting,
Jan had basically just heard the drums, and then basically in one evening.
Yeah, they basically jammed those riffs out. Got no idea what it sounds like, and then they sent. Because the reason is Wired, which has sold millions of copies. It's one of the biggest jazz rock fusion albums of all time. Came out in 1976. George Martin didn't nail it. And so it's actually mixed by Jan Hammer in his studio, and he put all the keyboard overdubs in, right? And basically, it's the sound of this. Wired is this sound. And I don't understand why this isn't seen, because this is such a key album. It's Jan Hammer is like the Charlie Parker of jazz rock fusion. He sounds like jazz rock fusion, And so, that's an incredible album. Right, shall we move on?
Yep.
Right, now, American prog. I've been thinking a lot about American prog, and it's a really weird thing, and it does exist, but the thing is, when it's at its best, it doesn't sound like British prog. It's American. So when you have a Kansas or a Styx, they're sort of doing what the British bands do, but they don't do it quite the same. They're American. They have better vocal harmonies, and it's slicker playing. But it's not quite got the sort of weird eccentricity of British prog. There is two people, though, that we have to deal with. One is obviously Frank Zappa, who is doing prog before anybody's doing prog in the UK. But the other genius of American prog for me is Todd Rundgren.
Oh.
Now, Todd Rundgren had a prog band called Utopia, which does seem to ape the British bands. But he did produce a prog masterpiece. There's no other album on the planet like this. It's utterly incredible, and it really should be listed in the 10 greatest albums ever made. And it is A Wizard and True Star. This album here. This is one of the greatest albums ever made.
It's a peculiar cover. Wow. I don't know this record at all.
I did. This is what's weird. I didn't know this till recently. I didn't know that much Todd Rundgren. I went down the sort of what do you go down the
Rabbit hole.
rabbit hole? Yeah,
the
Todd rabbit hole. Yeah.
Todd in the hole.
Now our mate John Jarrett,
That's a good one.
he's a massive fan of Todd Rundgren.
Yeah.
And he said, you've got to listen to this album. And then one day coming back for the gig, he put it on. I never heard anything like it. This is like, imagine, I don't even know how to describe what it's like.
Does it sound like the cover?
Is it? I was
the
going
cover,
to say, yeah.
The cover's a bit messed
Trying
up.
to describe the cover, it's like there's like Escher, there's like MC Escher.
It sounds like that.
It looks like it's like someone from the Lord of the Rings, if they're on like opiates.
It's Lord of the Rings in space.
Wow, like pigs in space.
Like pigs in space.
And there's also Doctor's handwriting in the middle there. Look. I don't. The only thing I know about Todd, two things I know about Todd is one, he did that Beatlesque album, and the hit was "I Saw the Light."
Yeah.
Yeah, which
That's something, anything.
Yeah, I'm not keen on. Sorry. And the other thing was he produced XTC's Skylarking, which is a masterpiece. And that's all I know about Todd. There's my Todd knowledge up to date.
He also produced and supplied all the musicians for the Steve Hilliger album L as well, which is where I knew Todd Rundgren. Todd Rundgren is he's a little bit like a pop genius.
Yeah.
He can write pop songs all day long. And so what you get with this album, you need to get someone who can write pop songs and can write. As soon as he had hits, he changed the direction. He goes off in funny tangents. The production on this is really strange. It doesn't sound like 1974. You have to go and sit down and listen to this. I can't really describe. It's like out there experimental pop music.
You are selling it to me. Actually, that sounds like my bag.
Yeah, I would have thought. I thought I'm going to get
this called? A wizard.
A Wizard and a True Star, I think it's called.
A Wizard and a True Star.
It's called A Wizard. It's got a funny title, and that even the title, you can't even bloody read it. It's like it's in these boxes. There you go. A wizard, comma, a true star.
Ah, a wizard, a true star.
I think when this is over, we need to play. I need to play some of these.
We do
because the whole idea of this is I want you to go away. I've got to have one of these now.
Yeah.
I've got to have a copy of one of these. If you're into, I got quite a few Todd Rundgren albums. They're all bloody different as well.
Yeah.
And some of them you go, I don't like this. Like the Something Anything, the one that came before this, had a big hit. I can't remember what it was. I'm not particularly keen on that one, but this one, it's just weird and it's amazing.
Incredible. God, it's just
Todd Rundgren.
Like, that cover is like ADHD.
Right, so I've done, just to recap, 10 Fire and Water, 9 Olias and Sunhillow by John Anderson, 8 Meditations done Coltrane, 7 Oh Yeah by Jan Hammer, 6 A Wiz True Star by Todd Rundgren. My alternative greatest albums ever made. This is what we're doing here. The next one I've got, how many was that? We're at number 5, we're halfway.
Yeah.
Right, jazz guitar. Okay?
Garland.
If you are a jazz guitar fan, you would have to listen to some Django, Hot Club of France.
Joe Pass.
Get some Joe Pass. You definitely got to get Charlie Christian.
Wes Montgomery,
yeah. These are the guys, and then you could go off to
Grant Green
and Kenny Burrell and maybe Barney Kessel and all this stuff.
George Benson, yeah.
Yeah. Now this here is one of the greatest jazz guitar albums ever made. Right? And it just, for me, it's on the same level as a Wes Montgomery. It might even surpass it. And worse than that, this album here is the only one. Hank Garland was actually a country guitarist. He did sessions with Elvis Presley.
And I thought I recognised the name.
And he goes into the studio. He's got Joe Morello from Dave Brubeck Quartet on drums, one of the greatest jazz drummers of all time. Joe Benjamin, who I think it was also from the Brubeck group. A very, very young Gary Burton, who is unbelievable on this. And they cut this album. But Hank Garland, because he's a country guitarist, he has got this accuracy of picking. This, for me, is where Shred starts. It's with Hank Garland. And so many jazz guitarists start here. George Benson's style is entirely based upon this. So when you hear that fast-picking, insane George Benson approach, he is trying to do this.
See, I've listened to some George Benson interviews, and I've never heard him mention this guy. I've heard him mention Grant Green.
Yeah, no, this is the guy. Hank Garland is the guy.
But he's never mentioned.
Yeah, and I think he mentioned that on the Rick Beato interview. Rick got it out of him.
That he liked Hank Garland?
Yeah, but I'd worked it out already because that's who he sounds like.
Okay.
Now, this is an alternative cover to this album. But for me, I'm a massive jazz guitar fan. I've got so many jazz guitar albums. Jazz guitar seems to be slightly separate to the world of jazz. You know, there's a whole bunch of people who only listen to jazz guitarists. You know, and
there's some jazz Nazis who won't listen to electric guitar.
Exactly. And I think there's two albums I think that are essential albums. One I don't own, and that's the live Lenny Breau album, the Velvet Touch of Lenny Breau, which is astonishing. And when I see a copy of that, I'm buying it. I don't care how much it is. But this one I picked up the other day in a record fair for £2.
Wow.
And this is the American cover as well. It's the British cover.
This isn't on Columbia. I've noticed because I'm a vinyl nerd.
Yeah.
And I've just noticed on Columbia. And what is it? Is it on mono or something? You know me and my mono.
You love your mono,
I love the mono, especially old records, because that's what they were made. That's what they recorded for most of the time. You know, most people didn't have stereo kind of systems.
If you've got you'll know about this. So I can ask you this. You know, when you've got a normal hi-fi stereo, like we've got, right? When you put a mono record on, both sides are then just playing exactly the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right. And that so the mono is happening down the middle.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not actually the way it's designed to be heard. It really should just be on one speaker, shouldn't it? I was wondering. There'll be no phase issues, would there? Would there be a phase? You're probably better to ask because Rob knows about this stuff. If you had one speaker, then you don't get a phase issue because you've got the same sound in both speakers. Which
I wouldn't have thought so, but like I say, Rob's the man.
The only way you would get a phase issue if you were playing a mono thing down two speakers, if you really change the distance you are from one of the speakers, that you might then.
Oh, then true. But one thing is that I've got a whole bunch of mono albums, and I thought it'd be fun to do a video where we basically just have one speaker and see. Because I think if you listen to it, it might be weird just to have the one speaker. But I wonder after a certain time when you forget that, because you are right. I've got a Bartok album which is mono, and I was really annoyed when I bought it because it was mono, and I love this Bartok piece, but it's now my favourite version of it because it just sounds amazing. Because there's one groove, isn't there? And it's like, you know, and I would not want to hear it in stereo now.
I've got early Beatles albums and some Miles Davis stuff on mono, and it sounds better. I've replaced the mono copies with my stereo copies because I bought later copies which were in stereo. But those early Beatles records, they are better in mono.
The stereo mix is awful.
Ken Scott said this on Rick Beato's interview. He said that they were mixed for mono, and he said that if you really want to hear how they wanted it sounding, go and listen to the mono records, because, I mean, and the thing is when they started doing the stereo mixing of that stuff, they didn't have 24-track master. They got 4 tracks, which is why. And I think it gets used now as a way that people will do things where it's like, I'll put all the piano and a voice in one side and the drums and the
hard panning
to make this sort of, this cool kind of sounding thing. But the only reason that was like that originally is because they only had so many tracks. So to create anything that was stereo back then was to go, we've bounced down all the vocals and the drums are on one, so we'll have to pan this to the side. And you get this sort of weird, which, when we're doing it now, it's like, your drums are spread across the stereo field. But that was the thing that Ken Scott said. He said the Beatles, when we were all mixing the things, they wanted it that had to sound like this in mono, because that was all they were doing.
That's what those records are.
It just sounds sounds more direct to me.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing I get from it.
Yeah,
it's more direct and
there's no mention of
the balance is just correct then as well. They know the level of the bass and the level of the drums. Everything is once everything starts to go, you'll get there's a certain amount of psychoacoustics that goes on where you suddenly then you're hearing things more clearly than maybe they were supposed to be in the mix.
It's interesting. There's no mention of mono or stereo on here, but at the bottom it says this Columbia high fidelity recording is scientifically designed to play with the highest quality of reproduction on the phonograph of your choice, new or old.
Ah.
If you are the owner of a new stereophonic system, this record will play with even more brilliant true-to-life fidelity. In short, you can purchase this record with no fear of its becoming obsolete in the future. This is mono, isn't it?
This is mono, yeah.
This is mono.
Yeah,
and I didn't realise that was
it's
how...
almost a disclaimer, isn't it?
Yeah,
If you've
yeah.
got stereo, don't, it will sound great. It will still sound great, honest, because,
I mean, when was this album made?
It's around about 62, I think.
So it's
62.
100% mono.
great statement as well. Just the way that's worded is just
Yeah.
is really cool, isn't it? We don't word things like that on record.
So, do you know about this? When is the stereo sort of kicking? Can you feel the thickness of it as well?
Stereo kind of kicks in 66, 67. Just because, manufacturers started making stereo systems,
So why has this got about having a stereo system on here?
Because they would have been available, stereo systems would have been available, but they've been very expensive and only audiophiles would have been buying them.
So they're basically saying if you've got a stereo system, they're just basically saying, look, this will
sound even
but
better.
it will sound even better if you've paid all that money for a stereo system.
Yeah, and also records. We talked about the Beatles a little bit, and we're going off on a tangent.
No, we can go over the time. That's what we're doing.
Beatles records were bought by kids, and kids couldn't afford a stereo system, so they'd have a little dance set.
Yeah.
And so it's mono. It's one speaker. So and that's why Beatles records, when you find them in record shops and things, it's very hard to find a good condition one because kids treated them like crap. Yeah. So there's my Beatles input. But I'm not.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get my whole Bandcamp collection of 55 albums. I'm taking them all down. They're all going back up in mono.
Okay. Well, when people listen on their phone, when the young kids are listening to the latest Andy Edwards thing on their phone, going like this, playing it in the park.
The young ones.
It's in mono anyway because it's one speaker.
Yeah.
So you might as well mix it to mono. So those teenagers digging your albums.
I'm going to because I did it the other day. I'm not going to tell you what track it was. Rob will hate me. I was mixing an album off and I'd done a couple of tracks. I'd had mono downloaded. I get the WAV files back and I think, boom. What shall I do? Shall I go back and mix them? I thought,
you'll just put it on.
So I'll just bang them up.
Well, I'll tell you about a mistake I made on one of my albums.
You had the drums in mono.
I had the drums in mono, yeah.
But that's not that big a deal, Rob.
But this is the thing. But when I realised it, I was like, oh God, I can't believe I've done that because it's all gone out here. But actually, now I actually really quite like the fact that happened, just because it's cool. It's cool.
Beato was interviewing some engineer. Can't remember which one it was now. Who and he mixed an Iron Maiden album, right? And he said that Nico had so many toms, he didn't know where to put them. So he said because they got 3 guitarists now, so they got 3 guitars and then about 20 toms. And he said so he's got the guitar there, the guitar in the middle. I said when he starts to pan the toms, it doesn't work. So the drums, the drums on those Iron Maiden albums. Straight down the middle mono, and the toms are all panned straight down the middle. And when he said it, I thought that is the sign of a brilliant engineer. To realise that works better. You're onto something with this mono thing.
I've started a new trend. I started a new trend. What it was I follow this Beatles guy on YouTube. Beatles. Well, he's generally a record kind of buff, but Beatles is his thing. And he was talking about the best cut of Rubber Soul. And the first cut is they call it the loud cut, and then they recalled it, and it's too loud, and then it's all these little dash marks and all this kind of stuff. And I was thinking, is it really that important? Is it really that important? And I had a stereo version of Rubber Soul from the mid-70s that I bought when I was a kid, maybe for like a £5. And so one day I thought, I'll put that on, and it mentioned it was panned hard and left. And I put this copy of Rubber Soul on, and I couldn't unhear it. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. And just because of this guy, and I can't remember his name, Andrew from Parlour something, his channel is. Anyway, so I've been on the search for a mono copy of Rubber Soul, and I bought one the other week, and I found a real nice, clean copy. Wasn't cheap, wasn't massively expensive, but I thought, right, I'm going to hear Rubber Soul, an album I'm so familiar with, on mono for the first time. And I put it on, and it was like I was 14 years old and hearing it again. Wow. It was incredible. It was like, wow, this is amazing. And the exact same thing happened when I bought a mono copy with the Beatles. I'd had that on CD for years, and I put it on, and I was like, wow, it sounds raw and immediate and fast. And I played to my dad, and my dad was like, yeah, that's how the Beatles are supposed to sound. So not just the Beatles, but you get
basically anything up to 1966.
Anything up to that period. You're listening to early Stones, or you're hearing Miles Davis records. I've got Milestones on a mono copy of Milestones. Paid a lot of money for it, but that sounds fabulous too.
This is a fascinating thing. I could talk about it all day. Right, pop. I thought I'm going to put a straight down the line pop album in.
Spandau Ballet.
And I thought, what is one of the greatest pop albums of all time? And the weird thing is that this is without doubt one of the great pop albums. But if you were to rank the albums by this band, you probably wouldn't put this at number one. And we've ranked them, and we didn't put it at number one. But since then, carrying on listening to it, I think that this is one of the greatest pop albums ever made.
Oh!
There we go.
Discovery by ELO. I know this record. Last Train to London. I
was talking about this yesterday with a friend of ours, Alan Evans. We were chatting, and we mentioned this.
Right.
So ELO. Now, a disclaimer, of course. If you don't know, Rob's dad.
If you don't know, every time. It's how I get introduced every time. Oh, by the way.
Look, everybody. Look at Kelly Grocott there. See that there, right? Look, put your face there. That's his dad.
What's he doing? Oh, he's doing that.
He's got. Have you got? You haven't got that bass, have you?
I have.
You have.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You own that bass. Rob owns that bloody bass. Can't you bring it down here one of the days?
Is it an original Hofner?
Do you want? Do you want to come in on that one as well?
I'll be here for the expensive bass.
That's the other ELO bass. That bass there.
I'd say I've got over there.
We've got that bass over there.
Where have we? You're great.
And this could well be on this album. But anyway,
you know what I'm going to say? We're talking about basses. I know this record really well. I have this record.
Yeah.
And Andy's right. It's a fantastic pop record. You can hear that bass on this record.
You can hear
this like McCartney-esque thing with the pick, kind of almost semi-harmonics plucked at the time.
It is. And I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't know exactly if that was a deliberate choice because of the style of this, because it's the disco, this disco sound. But if you hear like Shine a Little Love, for instance, a bass line in that, which is like the ding 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 ding. It's so much moving around that I think it makes sense that you would pick a violin bass like that,
and also
rather than the Gibson or the
Music Man or something. The thing is, of this era as well. We're talking about bass now. With this era, and you talk about disco and things like that, it'd be so easy and predictable if you had that Music Man or Fender jazz sound.
Yeah.
By having the Hofner sound, you're avoiding sounding like everyone else.
But I also think a lot of those players they were switching from fingerstyle, they were slapping and stuff, and it's like. But my dad was never really did slap bass. Really, I think he could do a bit, but he never did it. And I think
did he play with a pick or fingers?
Both.
I hear a pick on some of these songs.
I think he switches between.
Last Train to London.
You see this
because he's doing that ding like
I mean, Anthony Jackson in the 70s played on some incredible soul and funk records with a pick, and then you could go all the way up to Duran Duran with Planet Earth. That bass line, and it's a really funky. They're trying to sound like this.
Well, Carol,
yeah. But the reason I want to put this in is I think ELO. It's there's a number of albums that people will say they're the best albums, blah blah blah, and all this.
Out of the Blue and things like
that.
that.
But I think in terms of what they did, now that I've lived with it, because we did that ranking. But since then I've gone back to them. I think that this is almost like a perfect album to me.
Yeah.
I know Out of the Blue is a perfect album, but it's not because it's a double album. No double album's a perfect album. No. You know what I'm saying? No double album.
No double album. Even the White Album. Half of it you can get rid of. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Genesis.
Yeah.
I'd get rid of half of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Too long.
Yeah. But this one is so concise, and I think the idea of a band coming from the Beatles through sort of British progressive rock, because they are prog, although they're right on the sort of poppy end of it, and then embracing disco in the way they did. they just create something that's absolutely unique. And I think this is just a great pop album.
It is.
You know,
Confusion's a great song as well.
Confusion, yeah.
There's
like
no bad
Confusion.
songs on here, is there? Production's incredible.
It's like it goes into that sort of disco, but they still do the things like you say, Confusion's got the vocoder in it, so it's still like unmistakably ELO. Not a lot of people could do that.
The other thing is that epic aspect, the Diary of Horace Wim. They just do it all in this tiny little track, you feel like you've heard an epic, but you also feel like you've heard a pop song.
That is like a more kind of better produced, better executed thing that Ray Davies would do in the Kinks. Yeah. With Autumn Almanac and things like that.
You're right, it paints a sort of that almost like a poetry.
Arthur, he did that thing, they did that album called Arthur, and he'd have like these kind of little mini suites that go from different movements. He's very clever at writing, but the Kinks, bless them as musicians, couldn't quite execute Ray Davies' ideas, but they do on here.
And I think the reason why...
But also, Diary of Horace Wim is nothing like Dear Prudence at all by the Beatles, but we'll not say anything more.
Jeff was a bit of a Beatles fan.
Just a little. Yeah.
But the other thing is that, now I've gone and listened to all the albums, their side of Xanadu is unbelievable. It's like the finest ELO ever. The only reason why no one talks about it because it's not the whole album of ELO.
Because it's that soundtrack.
But in terms of the sound and the production, the songwriting, I think they're at their peak.
But Xanadu, the title track, was the only UK number one they had.
Wow. And it's amazing. It's such an amazing piece of music.
The only thing I think with ELO that lets them down from being cool, although I think that's changing, is some of the cover art and things.
Oh, I love that cover though.
But it's not cool, is what I'm saying.
They were never cool. I don't think that was a thing. It was they were. They
weren't a sexy band, weren't they?
Got into that sort of into being a cool band kind of thing. Well, it's like, but you're right. I mean, more recently now because it's the retro thing where people go, oh my god,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think really they were ever. I mean, who thinks about putting like. What is that?
Is that Sinbad?
Like Sinbad with
I don't know. Isn't was that game you used to play?
Bop It.
Bop It.
The sort of sense thing.
Bop It.
Yeah. So
that basically, Sinbad, I always think of that.
Sinbad has got Bop It.
Yeah.
It's a good concept.
What do you think? Do you think that is deserving of if you saw that in the top 10 albums of all time?
I personally wouldn't put it in if you're going to choose a pop category, I probably wouldn't. That wouldn't have come to my mind. But it's certainly worthy of being a great held up as a great pop album.
Yeah,
and I think sometimes when we're picking our favourite top 10, we can be a little bit earnest, can't we?
Yeah, that's.
We can be like,
that's what I'm trying to do here.
I'm gonna pick this because it's cool. People will say like, oh, I'm gonna pick one by the Clash. I'm gonna pick one by.
I hate that.
And it's just bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we all know the Clash are unlistenable.
Anybody's wanting to listen to bloody that rather than London Calling. Anybody would. So this is what I've been trying to do. Some of these are truly weird, like the Todd Rundgren one. That's like a really weird album. It's incredible and people should know about it. Other ones like this, it's like this sold God knows how many copies. I can remember it was in Arcade's catalogue. You could buy it in the bloody catalogue.
Oh, billions of copies of that. Yeah.
And so everyone knows these albums. There's a reason why they're loved so much. Right, we're now going to move on to what I will call heavy rock. Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Judas Priest, all those types of, even Tin Lizzy, all those types of things. I'm going to pull out an album which is absolutely perfect. It's one of the, it's in the top 5 greatest heavy rock albums ever. When I pull it out, everyone will agree, and yet we don't think of it. And it is this utter masterpiece.
What is this? Oh, Rainbow Rising. I don't know this. It's great. Is that Graham Bonnet?
This is what I'm on at this, right?
I don't know this.
This here is the second Rainbow album. Okay? So Richie Blackmore was in Deep Purple. It wasn't quite going the way he wanted it. He had this idea, this sort of medieval rock, he's basically about to invent neoclassical heavy metal, really. He goes and gets this band Elf. He uses them on the first album, which is great. Richie Blackmore's Rainbow's great. Then he sacks them all, retains Ronnie James Dio, one of the greatest rock singers in the history of rock music, and then puts this band together. Tony Carey on keyboards, Cozy Powell on drums, Jimmy Bain on bass. And this album is flawless. It's perfect. Every track is incredible. And it's just it is one of the greatest heavy rock albums. I would say it's more consistent than many of the Zeppelin albums. It's definitely more consistent than the Deep Purple albums. I cannot think of a band at this time in the 70s making heavy rock that surpassed this. Maybe
What year is this?
76.
Okay. Earlier than I thought. I thought this stuff was like early 80s maybe, but
No, because what happens? This is the early Deep Purple, which is, I mean, we basically on side 2 you got Stargazer, Light in the Black, and they it's almost like one massive track. Stargazer is like 10 minutes long. They've got the Munich Philharmonic Orchestra on it.
Wow,
it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. And anyone of my age, this, back in 1980-81, if you just said what's the greatest album ever made, I would have gone Rainbow Rising, and so would have anybody else my age who was into rock. They would have said that's the greatest album ever made. Right? It is. It's like, what's as great as this? Maybe Deep Purple in rock. Sabbath albums, they're as great. Led Zeppelin, say there's a couple of albums, but this is almost perfect. And then top it off, look at the bloody cover.
that is
one of the best covers.
That is a cool cover.
I had that as a T-shirt when I was a kid.
I bet. Oh, look at this! Look at these heartbreakers.
I know. This is rock.
You see that, and that's a cool band.
That's a cool band.
Yeah.
That's a cool band.
I had my jeans when I was at school. When everyone else was listening to Spandau Ballet, I had a pair of flared jeans, and I borrowed in those bloody stars on there because of Ronnie James Dio. I lived by this album. No, I couldn't. If I had them, I wouldn't be able to put them on.
That'd be hilarious.
I lived by this album. This is one of the greatest albums ever made, and it should be in the list. I think someone's got to champion proper rock. There is nothing more rock than this. You know when you take the mickey out of rock and you go... That's this.
My only issue with some of these bands is lyrics. They're a little bit, it's a little bit bad news, some of it.
Well, here we go. Stargazer. This is a proper song. He's wrong. It's a proper song. This is Ronnie James Dio, right? He's like a slave to this wizard. And this wizard is building like a Tower of Babel because he believes that he can fly. Now, why he needs to have a Tower of Babel, I'm not so sure. So the premise of this is he's building a tower and he's going to climb up to the tower and all the slaves are watching him and he's going to fly off the top of this tower. It's a bit like King Canute that we were talking about earlier before. High noon, I'd sell my soul for water. 9 years worth of breaking my back. Ronnie James Dio's been a slave breaking his back. Well, he's only 5'4", you see. So in terms of the slave duties, I imagine, when building this tower, he was having to do, because he wouldn't have been so good at carrying the bricks.
Well, that would have been hard work for him, yeah.
There's no sun in the shadow of the wizard. See how he glides. He's lighter than air. Oh, I see his face. Well,
there's no sun in the shadow because that's what a shadow is.
Yeah.
It's where the sun isn't, so...
Yeah. You're right there. He didn't need to say that,
He didn't need to say
that. That sentence not needed. And then he starts asking questions. Where is your star? Is it far? Is it far? Is it far? When do we leave? I believe. In the heat and rain. Oh, I love this. With whips and chains. This is what you're on about, isn't it? To see him
this
fly.
is
so all the slaves.
Machismo kind of macho stuff. It's a little bit bad news, I find it.
Anyway, when he gets there, right, and I'll get to the climax for you now. All I see the figure of the wizard as he climbs to the top of the world. No sound as he falls instead of rising. Rising.
Oh, see, there's the link.
Yeah. Time standing still, then there's blood on the sand. It did the bloody work. He just fell down and killed himself. Then all the slaves are gone, bloody hell, 9 years that was.
I mean,
That's a proper record.
I can forgive it because... there's a difference between lyrics and poetry, and this is lyrics, isn't it? Lyrics are meant to be sung.
That's poetry
and
to me.
Poetry is meant to be read. That isn't meant to be read.
I just read it.
I know you did, but it's not meant to be.
Look, this album, right? It's got no lyrics on it, okay? No lyrics. There's no lyrics in here.
That one song in there.
Except for Stargazer. The reason why Richie Blackmore's had that written
That's the best one.
Because that is poetry designed to be read. Designed to be red.
So,
We
I have a
believed, we
question here as
believed,
well.
we believed.
So it is just rainbow, but then I spotted on the thing, and it actually then says Blackmore's Rainbow. Is that officially what it was?
Well, the first album was called Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. And then this is where they became Rainbow.
Yeah, yeah.
And no one has ever mentioned this to me. So I have nothing to add to it. You are right.
It's like
There's
the next
and the other
album
thing is it said that the album's called Rainbow Rising.
Okay.
But anyway, that album's
We
bloody
call it Rainbow, we
perfect.
say Rainbow.
There's nothing wrong with that. We don't need
Apart
your
from some of the-
highfalutin songwriting bloody ways,
You know, when
Coldplay
you-
boy, coming in and you know, coming in and ruining my bloody.
I'm sorry.
I don't like all this pretentious bloody songwriting rubbish. I don't like
You don't like
it.
Joni Mitchell?
I like her, yeah, but she doesn't half go on, doesn't she? Well, you know, just because she's singing around and going on a bloody carousel or bloody going to Woodstock, you know, she's always going somewhere. She is always skating off down.
Life's about travelling, surely.
Yeah. Or having to work as a slave for a bloody wizard who wants to build a tower to prove he can fly.
Well, to be honest,
something interesting I just spotted, because this says, I've lost it now. Where does it say? Recorded at Musicland Studios sometime in Feb '76, and this was recorded at Musicland Studios, Munich.
Well, that's more than 79, isn't it?
Yeah, so recorded at because Musicland.
Yeah, it's
Musicland,
hell of
I
a-
mean, just incredible, isn't it?
it is. Right.
Right.
Let's how many have I got to go yet? No. Yeah, we're down to the last two right now. Okay? Put this away now. Look at his dad's album. It's like you would look at it. I just spotted you looking at your dad's album. You can do that when you get home. Right. One of the greatest albums ever made now. And a viewer sent me this. I'm so proud to own this.
Oh man.
Now you know this album, don't you?
Yeah.
And how good is it?
Not all of it, but yeah. 'Cause
This
massive,
is one of the great. Well, and I'm starting to think this, or on Land or Sea. There's two Cardiac's albums, but this. Do you know this?
I don't know this record. No. What's it called? Sing to God.
Do you know Cardiac's?
No.
Right. So this is a brilliant
about
thing.
them.
Right, because this is almost. We might have to make another video at the end of this, where a short video where I'll play you some Cardiac's. It stopped, did it?
It did, yeah.
Just now.
Yeah. Well, at some point.
Yeah. Where I play you Cardiac's and we see what you think. Once
Like
you've
a
heard them.
reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have I got to
Yes.
pull those silly faces?
No,
like
you
they
wouldn't.
do?
I would want to do that. I would like to say, this is day before you heard it, and it fades to black, and it comes back up, and you go, right, I've played you.
We're going to do Todd of it.
I haven't got Todd and Feathered. It'd have to be one of the ones on here, so I'd probably play two. I'd play Fiery Gun Hand, and then play Sing to Dirty Boy.
Have they got good lyrics? Or do they sing about wizards on mountains?
Don't even talk
No,
about.
just-
We'll do.
we don't-
Watch
yeah.
out for this video because it might appear at the end of it. I don't know. We're going to do that in a
Or
minute.
it's
So,
just a
so
secret.
let's just park that. Right. Now here I am about to offer what I think is one of the greatest albums ever made in the history of albums.
it-
Like this could be
Can I
number
guess
one.
what it is?
It's not Dennis Waterman.
Is it Boss Drum by the Shaman?
I've got that album. I have got that on CD, and I love it. I think it's brilliant,
What?
especially the track Boss Drum. It's amazing. How can you not like Boss Drum by the Shaman?
Oh, I don't know. The same way I don't like, the lyrics to Rainbow Rising.
It's not the same thing at all. What about Move Any Mountain? That's amazing. I can move any mountain. They're like Prodigy, but before Prodigy and a bit shitter.
That's a bit shitter. What was the other one? Snap. Rhythm
Yeah.
is a dancer. That was a similar one.
That's not. But they did Ebenezer Good, aren't
Yeah,
they?
he's a good. Yeah, we won't sing
with
that.
the great Jerry Sadowitz, who I saw live at his peak,
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
and he did everything. It was terrible. We were
really?
shocked, yes,
Oh, wow.
with what he did.
Yeah.
I am saying that this is an album that I think needs to be considered for the slot of greatest album ever made.
Ooh.
I put this album the other day on, and the reason why was because I got a headache and I felt a bit wobbly, and I thought, I'm very anxious, I'm very wound up. I thought I need to put a record on, and if I get the right record, it will just fix me instantly. And I picked the right
Is it
record.
too much jazz rock?
Yeah, this album, as soon as I put it on, it was just like medicine to my ears. And every single track was absolutely amazing. And there's a moment, and when it was so musically brilliant, it made me cry. I actually burst out crying. It's this.
Oh, yes.
Because you thought it was upside down.
Mr. Jackson. Yes.
Yeah.
I know this album
it's-
very well, yes.
I mean, you can't sing it. Don't even sing. Don't think you're going to sing it.
Yeah.
This bloke, right? And the thing is, there's a new film out, right? Called Michael, and everyone's been slating it because it's all Hollywood and it's
my daughter really liked it,
and it's not. It's going to be brilliant because it's a film that, I've got to see it now because it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want them dragging down to all that rubbish. This bloke was a musical genius. This is the greatest pop star of all time. He's one of the greatest singers. He's on the same level as a bloody anyone, Ella Fitzgerald, Aretha Franklin, whoever you want to pick.
Marvin Gaye.
He's on the same
singer,
level.
yeah.
He's an incredible songwriter, right? And there is a period where this guy's making the greatest pop albums ever made. And when I say pop albums, this is high art still.
Yeah.
I think this,
sophisticated
then Thriller,
pop.
and
Sophisticated
then
pop,
Bad, and to some point Dangerous.
Dangerous is a good record.
This my era. We got all those albums. I remember my auntie Neela bought this when it came out, going up to her house in '79. She put it on, and she goes, "Oh, this is absolutely amazing." This is astonishing. It's an astonishing album. It's just musically astonishing. I when I put it on, what's going on? It's like the cream of jazz rock. Quincy Jones's production. Incredible string arrangements by the best. Incredible brass arrangements by the best. You got George Duke on bloody keyboards. J.R. Robinson. You've got Louis Johnson on bass.
Louis Johnson, yeah. Johnson Brothers.
And every single track, even those is the out and out disco album, and side one is just disco. It's funk. It never
burn the disco down. It's incredible.
And to be able to do this with a record.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, look at that.
And he's got shiny socks as well.
Shiny socks on.
Which was his idea. It wasn't his idea to wear the suit, but when he got there, he said, "Can I have some white shiny socks?"
Okay, question. We all know these great songs, but what do you think of the Paul McCartney song "Girlfriend"? You like "Girlfriend"?
Yeah, of course I do.
It's very syrupy. That's the only one I would. I love "Burn This Disco Down."
Yeah,
incredible.
Because the thing is, this side one is just full on funk.
Yeah,
Off the Wall is amazing.
That was the one that made me cry because there was a bit where it changed key and then he hits this note. And in that side, that note is the same thing you hear when you go back to bloody Charlie Patton or Robert Johnson or whoever it is. Everything was contained in that note. And it's just the realisation of what 20th century popular music was and how incredible it is. You know, and this is the peak. This is the peak. This is like everyone's involved.
You don't think Thriller's the peak?
But Rod Temperton,
I think,
Rod Temperton, he's rocked with you, Off the Wall, and Burn This Disco.
He's a nerdy English guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
he was in Heatwave. He wrote Boogie Nights.
Ah, I didn't know that.
The other thing that's got to be mentioned with this is the Brothers Johnson. Louis Johnson's on here. Quincy Jones was producing the Brother Johnson albums, and it's all there except for the songs. That's the sound. Then you get this, and then he gets George Benson in, and they do that Benson album that's got "Give Me the Night" on and all that.
Oh yeah.
This is the peak.
That's a good record.
But for me, when I put if I put the headphones on, every little second of it musically is absolutely incredible. It's like there's things going on all the time, weird shifts in chords. There's a lot of they set up a mode, and then they have these two chords. Like the chords are used to boost up the mode. So you get, and then it goes to the next chord up, and then you're upstairs, and that is proper like modal jazz, and that allows Michael Jackson to just. Those notes.
I do have a fact about that first song though. Quincy Jones apparently he was Michael Jackson called him up after they recorded that and said when they're still mixing it and stuff, he said, "I want you to get rid of that string section, it's getting in the way of my voice." And Quincy Jones said, "Absolutely no way."
That's why they had Quincy.
One of the hooks.
Literally the bit that's like
he wanted to get rid of it because he said it interfered with his voice. So it really is a collaborative thing. You know, if what Quincy said is true, and there's no reason for him to lie.
Now, Thriller's incredible, right? And I think if you were pulling together the greatest albums ever made, and you put Thriller up there in the top 10, that would be, it's the biggest selling album ever made. This one didn't sell as much I think it did 20 million copies.
Is that all?
Right, so this here, I'll put it the
I'm
right way
still
around.
selling.
Funkier though.
This is, I think, music. We all know musically this is the peak, and this is where Michael Jackson became Michael Jackson. This album's right. If you take this style, got Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, Shaka Khan. What's better than this?
Boss drum by Shannon.
Yeah,
We're done. Finished. Brilliant.
very good.
That was it. So
Very
yeah,
good.
That is a good collection.
so that was it. That was what I think should be considered. These albums aren't. No, I've said it all already. If you got to the end of the video, it's boring, isn't it? What was the best bit? Do you think?
When you were reading out the poetry. Poetry.
Yeah, I thought that was
I
good.
thought that was a peak.
Yeah.
We should have saved that to the end, really. But
Yeah.
you could just,
You
you
should
could just
just-
edit it.
I
and tag
rushed
it
it.
on.
I rushed it though.
You should do a dramatic reading. In fact, this should be a
Let me do it now then.
No,
We'll do
like,
it now.
no, as a feature, like every week.
Just
you do a
I'll do
dramatic
it.
reading.
Couldn't
of
you get into
lyrics.
costume? Couldn't you
Just
get into
random.
costume? Have you got anything? Any props?
We're going to
you can
close
wear?
in. We're going to do what we'll do is I'll do a really slow through the whole thing.
This is bad YouTube. I know in my guts this is bad YouTube.
No, it's
Really
gonna be
slow
great.
pulling.
Right, you
of
bugger
your
off then.
lyrics.
You two go over and sit here. I'll do it.
We're
Take your mic off.
Take me, Michael.
Right, just do this. So we're gonna. I'm gonna finish it. When I finish this, it will just fade to black, and that will be the end of the video. But I'm gonna read this out so that you could appreciate the poetry of it. Basically, it's quite simple. Stargazer. R. Blackmore. R. Dio. High noon. Oh, I'd sell my soul for water. 9 years of breaking my back. There's no sun in the shadow of the wizard. See how he glides? Why, he's lighter than air. Oh, I see his face. Where is your star? Is it far? Is it far? Is it far? When do you leave? I believe. In the heat and the rain, with whips and chains, to see him fly. We built a tower of stone with our flesh and bone. The worst thing to build a tower with. To see him fly. So many die. But we don't know why. Now, where do we go? Hot wind moving fast across the desert. We feel that our time has arrived. The world spins while we put his dream together. A tower of stone to take him straight to the sky. Oh, I see his face. Where is your star? Is it far? Is it far? Is it far? When do we leave? I believe. It's all different people saying that. In the heat and rain, with whips and chains, to see him fly, but so many die. We built a tower of stone with our flesh and bone. To see him fly, but we don't know why. Now where do we go? All our eyes see the figure of the wizard as he climbs to the top of the world. No sound. As he falls instead of rising. Ooh. Sound effect in there. Where am I? Time standing still, and then there's blood on the sand. Bloody hell, there's blood on the sand, quickly. Oh, I see his face. Where is your star? Was it far? Was it far? Was it far? Changed it. It's clever, you see, he's changed it. When do we leave? We believed. In the heat and the rain, with whips and chains, to see him fly, but so many die. We built a tower of stone with our flesh and bone. I'll edit that bit. To see him fly, but we don't know why. Now where do we go? What the hell's that? It's like two bloody Spanish blokes have come in, play the castanets. What's that got to do with it?
Poetry applause.
I told you Johnny Mitchell was better.
Oh, come on, don't say you weren't moved by that.
Something moved.